Hello folks, this will be a quick update to the stories I'm doing. I've almost run out of the subscriber submitted stories now, and since I don't intend to shut this channel down, I've hired several people to find and translate stories from the non-English speaking countries in Europe and South America. From now on, the stories in which you don't see the names of the author during the intro of the stories should be recognized as the stories that have been outsourced. I'll still be rewriting them for better flow, grammatical reasons, and all that jazz, but rest assured, the core message of the stories will never be changed. Lastly, the names of the characters will often be changed due to the fact that it'd be real tough for me to pronounce some of the European names. And that's it, enjoy the rest of the video. Six years ago when I was 12, I had this best friend who practically hung out with me all day every day. By the way, I say had because my family has moved 2 years ago from LA to St. Louis and I haven't seen Peter since. But yeah, it was Friday, and who doesn't love Fridays? Especially Friday after school. We would sleep over at each other's place almost every week, and this week was no different. It was my turn to host, and so Peter's dad dropped him off at my place at 6 in the evening. Mom and Dad were out at a friend's birthday party, so it was just me, Peter, and my older brother who were at home. As is customary for older brothers, my brother told us to fuck off, and we did, since it wasn't like we wanted to hang out with that pothead anyways. If my parents were home, we'd have to be in bed by 9 o'clock. But on this day, we knew they were coming back late, and therefore we were free to do as we wished. We played video games for 2 hours. We both liked drawing, so we doodled some shits for an hour, then compared our work of art, critiquing each other's crap. Then we began watching Descent, a freaking classic, and one that our parents would have never allowed us to watch at that age. Peter brought the DVD from his brother's collection, and we were so stoked to watch it. Before I proceed with the story, I have to explain something about my brother. You see, I've got 5 siblings, 3 brothers and a sister. They are all older than me, by the way. My oldest brother is an engineer, the second oldest is in medical school, my sis, who is the third oldest, is currently attending MIT. Then you've got the 4th oldest, my brother Clyde, who still lives with my parents. He's the one who was at home this night. I think most people who grew up in a big family would understand. You always have that one sibling who never amounted to anything, and that's my brother Clyde. All our lives, we grew up in upper middle class neighborhoods. None of my siblings had to pay for their tuition, meaning if only Clyde kept his grades up, he could have gone to any college he wanted. He had all the opportunity in the world to succeed in life, but he didn't. I'm not saying this out of spite, I actually feel bad for him. But it is an important factor in this story, and you'll find out why. So let's go back to the night in question. Peter and I are about 2/3 of the way into the film. Things are getting tense and scary. I'm completely immersed in the movie when Peter says, "Hey, did you just hear that?" "Shut up, it's nothing, just watch the movie," I respond dismissively. Then bang, we hear the door downstairs slamming against the wall, and it seems like it's the back door that leads to the backyard. I don't even think and just react. I grab Peter's wrist and run with him to my brother's room. We open the door, but the pothead is not in his room. We hear several footsteps walking upstairs, or I don't know, maybe they're running upstairs. But regardless, they are approaching fast. I open my brother's window because you can actually jump out and land safely on the roof from that room. Once out, we can hear the footsteps are now upstairs, and they are going through the drawers as it sounds. I tell Peter to be quiet and walk toward the southeast end of the roof. From there, we use the wooden frame that supports the vine as a ladder and slowly climb down. We make a run for it to Mr. Thompson's, our neighbor 3 houses down. But not before I turn around and memorize the plate number of the car that's parked in our driveway. We ring the bell frantically, but neither of us scream or shout because they would alert the thieves. Mr. Thompson opens the door and we rush into his house without his permission, then close the door behind us. Peter looks pale like he just seen a ghost, and I'm not doing much better because I mumble every word I speak. I somehow get the message across to Mr. Thompson. He tells Mrs. Thompson to call the cops, then rushes to his basement. In about a minute, he emerges with an AR-15 and a pistol. He hands the pistol over to Mrs. Thompson and tells us to hide in the bedroom. Before heading out, he says, "Shoot anything that doesn't answer back." We were saved. Mr. Thompson caught the thieves as they were loading their car with stolen goods, and the cops arrived shortly thereafter. You see, I ran to Mr. Thompson because I knew he was an Iraqi war veteran. I also knew he had a shitload of guns, and he definitely knew how to use them. But here's what happened. My pothead brother Clyde, well, apparently, the idiot ran out of money because my dad cut his allowance. He couldn't buy his pot with money, and so he began paying for them with his watch, Xbox, and a few other things he stole from home. When he ran out of things he could steal without getting caught, he began owing his dealer and promised them he'd get his money by giving them his driver's license as insurance of sort. The dealer saw the kinds of things my brother was stealing from home, and he put the two and two together, realizing there were a lot to steal from our home. That night, instead of watching us at home, Clyde went out with his friends to smoke pot, and Peter and I nearly became headline news for the following morning. Dad nearly kicked him out after that, but he couldn't in the end because he knew Clyde would just get in more trouble if he let him out. Like I said, Clyde still lives with my parents, and they'll probably be the responsibility of the rest of us siblings when their parents are no longer with us. That in and itself is a horror story for my brothers and sister, but I guess that's something to tell in the future. When I was in high school, I only had 2 close friends and I never really felt the need to make more. Maybe I was seeing the world with a predetermined mindset, but I've always felt that most other kids had at least 5 friends, and often more. One of the main reasons why I still don't have many friends till this day is because I'm shy. I've always been shy. I think I have this idea that most people have more friends than me because I've never possessed the proper social skills to effortlessly mingle with strangers. It's one of those things that I always tell myself that it doesn't bother me, but deep inside, I know I really don't like that about myself. But going back to high school, I had no friends during the first semester. Then I met Tara in the second semester and we became best friends. The second and last friend I met in high school was Kelly, and I only got to know her thanks to Tara. Soon enough, the 3 of us became inseparable, and we began spending most of our free time together. After about a year, we already had several sleepovers at my place and Tara's, but Kelly never invited us to her home. It wasn't just the sleepovers, but she never mentioned much about her family or home in general. I figured she must have a good reason for it and therefore never pushed the issue. But Tara's a lot more straightforward than I am, and one day she straight up asked Kelly why she wouldn't invite us to her home. You could tell Kelly was uncomfortable with the question, but she put on a fake smile and told us why the hell not. We went to her place that night and were quite surprised at the fact that her family seemed normal. Her mom was kind and her dad was more talkative than mine for sure, although I wouldn't classify him as the friendly type. We stayed up late talking for like 3 hours, and when it was time for bed, Kelly told us to go to the bathroom now so we wouldn't have to go in the middle of the night. Tara joked, "Why, are you not allowed to pee at your place after bedtime?" "No, it's just that the bathroom's right next to my parents' bedroom and my dad's really sensitive to noises," Kelly responds. It was a reasonable request, and one that I thought could have been the main reason why she never invited us. I went to squeeze out the number one just in case, but Tara decided that it was too much of a bother for her and just went to bed. So then it's no surprise that she woke up in the middle of the night and woke me up to go to the bathroom with her because she was scared to go alone. Kelly was sound asleep, and so I asked Tara quietly just why in the world she's scared to go to the bathroom alone. Her answer, apparently Kelly's dad creeps her out. Whatever, I lead the way and we tiptoe our way to the bathroom. Tara finishes her business and she's about to turn on the faucet when I tell her no, since that would make too much noise. I don't know why, but we are laughing uncontrollably as I tell her to shut up. Just as we were about to open the door, I hear someone come out of the bedroom of the parents. God knows why, but we are both panicking and laughing at the same time. It's not like Kelly's parents would punish us if they found out we went to the bathroom, but for some reason it sure felt that way. We wait and wait until that person who came out goes back into the bedroom, but we hear nothing for close to 10 minutes. Tara says her dad probably woke up and is likely drinking or something in the kitchen. We could go back to the room. Let's go. We open the door and see Tara's mom standing right in front of the restroom, holding a kitchen knife in her hand. She begins to swing it wildly, so both Tara and I back up toward the bathtub. I pull the shower curtain rod and it slides off the wall. I use the rod to push her off, but she's resilient. She falls then gets up, continuing to swing wildly. Tara screams from the top of her lungs as this whole thing unfolds, and we see Kelly's father tackle his wife from behind. He pries the knife out of the mother's hand and carries her out of the bathroom, then into the bedroom. Kelly runs toward us, looking shocked, ashamed, and resentful all at the same time. She apologized and pleaded to us to not tell our parents. We didn't. Instead, we called a cab and I took Tara to my place for the night. We were able to sneak in through the window in my bedroom, and in the morning, my parents thought we just came home early. We met Kelly the next day and she told us that her mom suffers from chronic sleepwalking. For the most part, she's fine as she doesn't do anything too crazy. But having strangers in the house did have some negative impact in the past, although she never tried to kill anyone before us. That was the reason why she never invited us to her place. Before this, I never thought people who sleepwalk could become hostile. I thought it was an urban legend, but as it turns out, there have been actual cases in which murder had been acquitted for reasons of chronic sleepwalking. Tara and I had nearly become a new victim of this crazy illness. Sadly, Kelly kept her distance from us after the incident. We kept telling her that we were fine and that we didn't blame her for any of it. But she was never the same after that. Tara and I are still best friends, but we both miss Kelly a lot. In 2002, I was 10 years old and my family had just moved from Virginia to Rhode Island. The first couple of months was real tough because this was the first time I had ever experienced what moving is like, and being away from my old friends was really traumatizing. I know it may sound a little dramatic, but try to put yourself in the shoes of a 10-year-old girl and you might be able to relate a little better. 2 months in the new neighborhood, I had friends in school, but none whom I clicked like I did with my friends back in my old neighborhood. Then shows up Carrie. She was a new girl in town as well, originally from Alabama, and now she lived 2 blocks away from my place. We went to the same school, we could relate well to our current situation, and therefore we naturally became close. We would often have sleepovers on weekends, I say at least twice a month. It helped that our parents got along very well, and they seemed to like each other's company a lot. So this one night, it was about a month after Carrie and I had become best friends. She invited me for a sleepover, and this would mark our first ever sleepover. I went to Carrie's at 2 in the afternoon, we played the whole day, then we were ordered to go to bed at 9. We got under the blanket, Carrie's mom turned the light off and went out after saying goodnight. Of course, we weren't going to sleep right away, and we began whispering about things under the high-tech soundproofing of the blanket. It was in the middle of July, and naturally the blanket was thin, suitable for the weather. You can't see through it, but lights do penetrate it easily. That's why I noticed that someone turned the light on and off in the next house. I got out of the blanket and told Carrie to look what I was seeing. The light continued switching from the on and off state, and Carrie told me that it's probably the girl next door. I asked how old she was and if she knew her, and Carrie told me that the girl suffered from learning disability. So we both assumed that the girl was probably doing what kids with that condition do, and didn't think too much of it. In the morning the following day, Carrie's mom walks me back home, and on the way, we see people from the next house walking out. A young girl is in a wheelchair, and I could only assume that's the girl Carrie's been talking about. We meet in the middle of the sidewalk, and I say hello to the parents and the young girl. The father ignores me and casually walks to the car. The mother does say hello back, but she's got zero emotions in her face. The young girl, on the other hand, she's completely out of it. She's drooling a little and doesn't even seem like she can get up. That seemed odd because someone must have been turning the light on and off last night, and it was definitely not her. So do the parents do that to torment her? Did the doctor tell them to do that? I had no idea. Remember, I was only 10 years old when this happened. I went to play at Carrie's a few days thereafter, and out of curiosity, I looked out the window to see the girl's room. It was daytime, and you could tell that the window seemed boarded up from the inside. You had to look closely because there was an overhang right above her window, and a thick shadow darkened that area. But it was clear the window had been boarded up, although the light from the room did creep out because of the spaces between the boards. So the question was, why? If the girl's immobile to the point that she needs a wheelchair to get around, then there's no need to secure the window to such extent to ensure her safety. That's assuming that the girl could think for herself, which was a small probability based on my initial interaction with her. Like I described earlier, she was completely out of it. There was no person inside of her shell. Carrie and I talked about it for an hour, and it was a big mystery for both of us. I know it sounds cruel, but it was a really exciting topic for us at that age, imagining evil parents and a poor young girl trapped in the house. It was akin to watching a scary fairy tale unfold in reality right in front of our eyes. The next time I had a sleepover at Kelly's, I came prepared. I brought a powerful flashlight from my father's office, a tiny blackboard my mom used to teach me how to read and write with, and a whistle, which, looking back, I have no idea why I took it with me. Like I said, I was 10 years old. We stayed awake and waited for the lights to go nuts again. Then it did. Carrie and I spring into action and use the flashlight to signal to her that we see her. We then turn on the light in the room and begin writing on the blackboard. 1 times light equals yes, 2 times light equals no. We wait until she reads our message and the bombshell. The light turns on and off once she understood. We ask the next question, "Are you in trouble?" We wait and wait, then the light turns on and off once again. We are about to ask the third question when we see the light turn on and her father just rips one of the boards off the window, then looks straight at us through the opening. We get down under the window, crawl to the door, and once in the hallway, run straight to Carrie's parents. I wish I could tell you that they called the cops and the father turned out to be a crazy evil man, but things went down a lot more predictably than that. Carrie's parents completely dismissed our claims about the girl and told us to stop making troubles for the neighbor. I even told my parents about it the next day, but sadly, I got the same reactions out of them. Carrie and I think that the girl's room was moved after that because the boards on a window were gone the next time I had a sleepover at Carrie's. There were no more lights turning on and off at nights, and in fact, no one ever seemed to be in that room anymore. We saw the girl many times thereafter when the parents would take her to some place and they had to get her in their car. There was no change in her. Whenever she was out, she looked completely out of it, like the soul was missing inside of her. Looking back as an adult, I believe she was drugged whenever she was taken out of the house. Inside the house, she was probably locked up, but in a cognizant state. They moved away when I was 14 years old, and I've never seen them again afterward. However, I did track them down last year with the help of a friend who works for the government, and who shall remain anonymous. Sadly, the girl passed away 6 months after she moved away. The cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head, but it was supposedly accidental. According to the investigation, the mother couldn't bear the girl's weight as she was bringing the daughter down from a staircase. They both fell. The mom suffered fractured ribs and a broken finger, while the young girl died from the injuries to her head. Do I buy any of this crap? Definitely not. But what more could I do? Go to the cops and tell them about our adventures with a blackboard and flashlight? It wouldn't work. I think about the young girl a lot now that I'm an adult. I also detest how we become so detached from the sense of community. We worry so much about offending others, to the point that we'd rather not know anything about our neighbors and even friends. Go watch some YouTube videos with kids getting injured while skateboarding or riding bicycles, and just see how their friends laugh at them when clearly the injury is severe. Friendship today doesn't have the same depth and essence that it once held. I believe it is these societal changes that contributed to the girl's death. If only our parents bothered to get involved, maybe she's alive today. But we'll never find out now. Okay, this is really important, so please stick around for just 1 minute. At the top right corner of your screen, you will see a card pop out, and that, my friends, is a poll I need you to participate in. It's just one question, and all I need to know is whether or not you guys would be interested in a compilation video. I know I've asked this before, but I've never ran a poll, and thereby getting a clear picture of the wants and do not wants. Going forward, you will see many shorter videos because I am now working much faster due to hiring several people to work for me. No, they don't work full-time for me, and if they did, I'd go broke in a few months. I pay them per job basis, and currently it's working out great. With that said, since many of you guys like the longer videos, would you like me to make a long compilation video after I've uploaded, say, 5 to 6 videos? Basically put the last few videos together and create something like an hour-long compilation video. If yes, then vote yes. If not, then vote no, so I could once and for all learn what you guys would prefer. Thank you, and sorry Laura, that funny story I've talked about will have to wait for another episode. See you next time, folks. Goodbye.